Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network here in this show where Albin Larsson and I, Jan Ainali, are editing Wikidata live. How are you doing, Albin?
I'm doing great. I have had a lovely summer day actually. So it has been really nice. And you, Jan, how are you?
I'm good as well. I've found some new tools, recent changes tools on Swedish Wikipedia that I have been enjoying, exploring, and doing some recent changes patrolling, which was a long time since I did it last time, but I've been quite active last week with that. It's fun. But now we're doing Wikidata instead. What are you having planned for today?
I actually discovered this, so last week we didn't have any stream because it was the Wikimedia Hackathon. And then I learned that we can render geoshapes in the Wikidata query service interface. So I was thinking I would do that from scratch today. I haven't done it before. I just saw it. I don't know for how long it has been around or anything, but I was just, that's great. That's amazing. So I think I will be rendering nature reserves using that. And you, Jan, what's your plans?
Nice. I'm gonna do something completely different. And hello, Nicholas. I'm gonna do a little help for a wiki project and what sometimes we call it mapping, sometimes we call it a crosswalk table, sort of mapping our properties towards another database. Or in this case, a specification even, so.
Yeah, no, I saw your announcement saying what you would do today, and I really want to watch that.
Yes, so we'll see. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen here. So if you didn't already know, on the main page on Wikidata, we have this, there's so much information, so much handy links, but one of the that I'm gonna use today is the Join a Wiki project, where you can actually find a wiki project. And when you go there, you come to this big list, and each of these are also in several levels, so we can have or many types of medical wiki projects or stuff like that. And today I'm gonna see for computing, informatics, and then the part that's called FLOSS, which stands for Free Libre Open Source Software. And as these project pages usually do, they sort of have a lot of handy properties and how to sort of use them for items related to this. So I've been reading this a little bit and learn about the properties. But then I also figured out, hey, there are some resources out in the wild. And I know that in Italy, they have a law that all software that's being developed by, I think it's for federal money, has to be open source. And then they also have this great little catalog of all things that has been done so that you can actually find. And if you sort of click on the first one here, it's sort of a description of that software. And we can see here we have some sort of tags, we have some data, we have links to documentation and source code, some images. We see everyone who is using it here. And these are mostly municipalities, and I guess all of these have items in Wikidata. And some more, and here we have some even more metadata. And the nice thing with this is that this, so that it can get everything into the catalog in the same way. They use a standard, and the standard is called public code.yaml, and they have this editor. So what I'm going to try to do here is sort of like, all right, this is the field here in this standard. What would that be in Wikidata? And sort of make that mapping so that if you want to grab a piece of software or even do an import, you know how to do. But the first thing, this is a little bit of a thinking, and I think I need some help, so that's why I want to do it here with you. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to make a sub page for this. I'm going to just call it like public code.yaml. mapping. And perhaps a bit of a disclaimer as well. I work at the Foundation for Public Code. This is not from us, but in our standard for public code, it is a requirement to use it. So I'm sort of a little bit involved here, but I'm not going to create any items today. I'm just going to make the mapping and let someone else do this. So I have a page. I'll create source. And to save you from some time of me doing boring wiki syntax, because that's not why we're here. We're going to do the fun stuff. I'm just going to do this little chef's thing I have prepared. Let's see if I can copy and paste here from another document. And here's a start for a table where I took all of these fields into this table. And let's go to preview so we can see it, how it's going to look. So we have something here, the name of the software, and then we want to map that to a property. And then we're going to need a few comments as well. So yes, so let's start. Name of the software. What could that be? So I think that's obviously going to be used for the label.
Yeah.
But I think also we can use it. Now I need another tab here because I'm going to do a lot of searches in the property namespace. And maybe the main page wasn't the smartest one to start because that's a heavy page. Ah, there we go. I'm going to search for name. So I think there's something else as well. Not the official name, because that's for maybe it was the official name. It's not the name in the native language. Let's go back. Oop. Let's have a check at the official name here. That looks decent, but that might also be the localized name. Oh, and here Nicholas says the general 2561. Let's take a look. If more specific, that could be good. Is there something like title? Is that better? Here's official name.
Title would be if we could consider it a work, but maybe a piece of software is a work.
Yes, I would say it is. Let's check p title. It has copyright, so it's considered a creative work. Yeah, it can even be a website. Yes, let's do this. So P1476. Let's go down here. 1476. One down. Next fields. For the next fields, yes. Application suite. I'm not sure we have it. What?
Part of?
Part of? Yes. Let's check the part of. I think it's 361, if I remember correctly. Yes, it is.
Nice.
And yes, it could for sure be this. Let's see also here if we have anything more specific. Member of part of the series, facet of. No, I think that's good. Let's go with that.
Yeah. I think there are a couple of pieces of software that are modeled that way already.
Nice. And then the localized name, that was 1448. And generic name. Now, this is a tricky one. You would think it is a name, but when you read the help here, it's actually what we're going to use at instance of. Software is it actually says, so it's really good. So, and it says like it's a text editor, it's a web browser or something like that.
Right.
So here we go for 31, easy. And then repository URL, I think that's one is easy because I think we have one named exactly like that.
So, something like that.
Source code repository, so that's the one we want. 1324. But the next one might be a little bit trickier, so we'll check that one. The landing, maybe I need to zoom in a step or two here. So this one says, it's sort of like this one should be human readable. And I'm sort of thinking this is the official web page.
Yeah. I'm thinking so too.
I don't know that one by heart. Do you know that one? Or website, perhaps?
Official website or something like that?
856. So
the number.
Yes.
I don't even know my phone number.
Well, you know 31 at least.
Yeah, I do.
Yes. Documentation. I do believe we have something like that. I don't remember it by heart, but I think I even showed it when we had the open source day.
Nicholas
is saying P586. Let's see. So we're in sync here and don't have a lag. No, he must have meant 856 on the previous one.
All right.
Documentation. There it is. User manual URL. That's the one we want. 2078 documentation guide. API
is that for the software? Is it a user manual or is it for like setup and development?
That's the question. Let's double check the documentation here. To the user level, not developer level.
Okay, great.
Good question, and it had the exact answer there. Now we're getting called out here. Nicholas saying, these are the ones you should know.
Let's see here.
I always mix up the 17 and 27, which, of course, you noticed very quickly in your queries because you're getting 0 results. One is the country, one is citizenship. So the sort of like in your mind placed in sort of the same spot.
Yeah, I have the problem with the same two.
Yeah.
But honestly, I use the autocomplete a lot nowadays.
Yes.
It's just so good.
Autocomplete is great. That's our best friend. Unfortunately, we don't have autocomplete in the Wiki text editor yet. We'll see who builds that in a hackathon.
That would be something.
Yeah. API documentation. I'm not sure. So let's go search for API here. And for you who view, if you know anything, just shout it out in the chat. So we can. All right, we're gonna get everything that's external identifiers that have the API in it. Let's see, this one might have a clue, perhaps.
Yeah, it might have a C also.
Yeah, so this is not the one we want for now, or for this thing. Oh no.
No.
No. All right. We don't have it yet. Then I would think leave it
Or
blank.
it's documentation with a qualifier. User
Yes.
manual qualifier.
Well, let's check our documentation here again. See if
Yeah,
that
let's see.
could
I'm
be.
just saying things out loud. I don't really know.
Oh, wait. Even I think we had. Let's see. Go back to the project. Or I want to go up a level or two. I remember reading something about this in their very useful. Now let's see. User manual. So here they're doing when the target audience intended public floss contributor for the contributing file.
All right. Yeah.
Should we do well,
Yeah, we
that's
could do
intended
software
public.
developer or something like that.
Yes. So let's see. So we'll take scroll 20, 70, 80, 78 here and add a comment to qualify with, and then what was it, intended audience 2360. And developer roadmap. I don't think I encountered anything like that.
No, I can't think of anything too.
No results matching the query. All right. So let's leave it blank. Release date. Now this, I think, is sort of the opposite of what we are using.
Okay.
So here we want the date for the latest version, not the first, which I think is what we have as a release date, unless we use it as a qualifier on a version.
Yeah, exactly. I think we somehow states for each version, right?
Yes. And
I think there is some bot pulling that information from example GitHub.
And we don't have it in this one, but I did sometimes you go and you check at the media wiki item, because that's one's quite well modeled for obvious reasons. It's close to home, and it's also a bit heavy to load because it has so many things in it. And let's check. I'll show you here how the version. So here we have, like, for each version number, we have the publication date. So we're gonna say, but what is it? We can check that. So the publication date is 5/7/7. But we'll say use as qualifier for this dude. And then the software version was 348. And we'll do the opposite here. Use release date as qualifier. And then we'll get the latest one. And as you said, there's at least a GitHub bot. So if it's on GitHub, it will go pull in all the historic ones as well. I think you only need to have the repository for it to find it. Is based on.
Oh.
I think we have something like derived.
I think we should have something pretty much exact the same because I know that schema.org has one, and I think it's mapped to Wikidata.
Derived from? No, this is like seems. Derivative work,
True.
but the opposite. Based on. There we have it.
Yeah, right.
P144. Almost named the same as well.
Exactly.
Development status. So this one is like these 5. And of course, these could have items. Probably already do. At least beta, I think. But I'm not sure if we have a property.
It seems like
what-
something that is tricky to model in Wikidata.
Yeah, let's see if there's something like status. Hmm.
Can we think of some famous software that it's in beta?
VCQS, Wikimedia
Yeah,
Commons query
or
servers.
yeah, or we can go
So-
like look up like Firefox development version.
Do you think we have an item for that?
I guess we have an item for Firefox
Firefox
versions.
developer tools.
Beta, could it be called like that? It changes name. History. No, okay.
Let's see. Let's check the Firefox. Is that also a very well modeled item? Perhaps.
Yeah.
There we
It
go.
would be interesting to compare open source items to closed source items.
Yeah.
In terms
Official
of
name.
yeah, if you go up there, has edition or translation. There, and then we got Firefox Nightly.
All right.
That is
let's
like
see
an
what
alpha
is.
version.
Yes. So does it say anything about that? Let's see. This is very interesting. Distributed by. Format. Oh, and then plenty of versions, as they do. Has quality.
Has quality.
Bleeding edge technology.
I guess we can have has quality beta or something like that.
Yes.
Or testing
think
version.
Yes.
Yeah, we would
So-
need to map each individual value somehow.
Yes. So let's go first with the has quality, which was 1552. And then we'll see what did we have. So we have concept development beta. Let's see, bleeding edge. That's too much. Let's go here. Let's see, concept. We're pretty sure we have something for concept.
Yeah.
But do we have a good one?
That seems like semantic unit.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
or
if it's concept, it's not really.
we have a Wikipedia article about concept?
I think we do.
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
Right. There we go.
I think we can go with this.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, I
So
think the fact that there were so many Wikipedia articles confirmed it.
So we'll use on off. And then we had development. That one might be tricky.
Could we search for development version? Maybe that has an item.
trunk. That's sort of the right, but not
No.
not really.
No.
Let's see, under development. Nah. Developing. Let's check this one. So it is a process here. Status. So what did we use for? What was 1552? Has quality.
Has quality.
Development.
I don't really think that this is it, because this would also apply to something that is, for example, stable, right?
Yep. Let's see. Do we have a stable? Oh, stable version. That's the one we want.
That's a nice
this
one.
This one we are for sure no. So we'll add.
That's an exact match.
Yeah. Q. And I'll bet we have something for beta version as well.
Yeah.
Right, let's go there. There we have it. So it might be that we actually need a new one for development version.
Yeah.
And what else did we have? We had obsolete. That we'll probably have.
Yes, I think so.
Because we use that. Oh, we have too many obsoletes. So we don't want the album from 98. Obsolete form. Obsolete version. We even do have that. All right. So we'll copy that. We get the suggestion for version type. Yes, I think we're getting to it. We're not there yet. So that's something different from the development status. Or is it? Let's see.
No, I'm not sure. Actually, in this case.
548. Let's check it out.
No, I think this might be it.
Oh, yes, this is much better than has quality.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, this is the perfect match. Perhaps we have some more software alpha version, initial version, beta version. I think initial might be better than well, this is still a version. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, first go this one for 548 at least. And then let's see, can we see?
We could query for the various versions used.
Yes, so we'll do a quick little query here.
I see a potential for maintenance queries.
Yes.
To capture things that are modeled like Firefox.
Or rather like this. Let's see how this looks for now. I'll do a show preview. Because this list is long. And we're already up to quite a long time. But we're a little bit over a third down. But you can see sort of what I'm going for here. So that someone can come along, check what's in this field, what's used for the property, and if it's not really obvious how you should match it or use it, try to add a comment to it as well. So this is what I'm going to go through all of this. I'm going to do a save for this for now. Starting.
So question from my side now is I realize that all the software using this standard is open source, but is this public code file always like CC0, or how is that licensed? Could we do an import?
That's a good question. I would think that in general, this file is in the repository, so it will have the same license as the actual software.
Right.
And I'm not sure which licenses are software licenses that are compatible with CC0. Not that many.
Not the most common ones.
No. So that's a little bit of a tricky one. But this also helps if you're doing it by hand.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
But it makes an interesting case for this metadata about open source that not necessarily should carry the same license as the software itself.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point that I'm gonna make a note.
Yeah. I was thinking the same. That seems like something that maybe should go in your standard.
Licensing. Yeah, it makes sense to if you're doing open source software. Firstly, to have different licenses for the code and documentation, because they're regular Creative Commons licenses might be better suited for documentation than for code, and the other way around. But then, of course, for metadata, you probably most often want it to be spread as much as possible. Exactly. And especially this public code.yaml file is intended to get scraped. So, yeah.
I mean, I imagine this file is meant for discovery purposes. And if so, you kind of need something that isn't a software license.
Yeah. So I'm just going to see, I saw a spelling error here. We're going to fix that one, and now we'll save. All right. So a good start. And I'll continue with this, and then we'll have to clean up the empty piece as well. Thank you for the help, everybody.
Thank you for showing us. I'm gonna jump straight into it. And essentially what I want to do today is that it turns out that we can use the Wikidata query service interface to render not only points and lines, but also like proper shapes. But to actually show how this works, I was thinking that we would go a bit into the background and have a look at one of those shapes, because those shapes aren't in Wikidata, they are in Commons. And I think this is a special namespace on Commons. I think it has been around for 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
Something quite a long like time. That. Yeah. Quite depends. Depends on one's perspective. I'm told I'm not allowed to say that things have been around for a long time because I'm too young for it. But let's take an example from an item which has a geo shape. So I'm gonna go for a nature reserve, which is used nearby, and all the nature reserves in Sweden do have a geo shape. And we can see here we got a property called geoshape. And you might see that it links to data Sweden nature reserves 2020, then the name of the file, so to say. So if we open this on Commons, we can actually see that it renders a map, and we can see this shape here. So it's the outline of the nature reserve. And if we take a look at the source, we can see that this is something under CC0, but in particular, it's GeoJSON. But it's a JSON format. We don't really need to know what it is, but it holds use battle information. It can be a line, it can be a bit of everything. Having a look at this geoshape property, we can see that it behaves a little differently from Orchard because it has the data type geographic shape. And you might be familiar with like external identifiers, strings, multilingual strings, and a couple of Orchard ones. But this is a very uncommon one. I think there are just a few properties that use this, but I think we would start by querying which properties do use that. So I'm gonna open the query service and start typing for it, searching for this. Select, I want to have a property. Property. And I want a property label. And usually we select items, but now we're selecting properties. But it's very straightforward. I'm gonna keep on doing property. And now I want to select it by its data type. And I think it's wiki base and then property type. Yes. And then that should be of a specific type, wiki base geo. Oh, it doesn't autocomplete the geo shape, but okay. I think it's that. It is. And I'm gonna add a label here. And just do we got the right service? Service. Not that one. That is the one. Okay, so we see that we got 1, 2, 3 different properties that use this data type, the U-shape one. That is, I think it must be one of the least used ones. First, we got the generic U-shape. Let's have a look at its description. It's incredibly generic, actually. It just say geographic data from Wikimedia Commons. It doesn't specify what it is. It just says that it's geographic data. But usually I have seen it used as the outlines of a country, of a nature reserve, and so on. Then we got something called sandbox geographic shape. Okay, so it's only meant for the Wikidata sandbox, I imagine.
Yeah, I guess we have a sandbox property for each data type.
Right, yeah. That would make sense. And we got distribution map of taxon. So I imagine this is the region in which you can find a particular species. It sounds like something we should query for to actually visualize and play with. It seems like a very interesting one, at least for myself.
Yes.
Let's see. What we actually want to do now is to render this. And we do have a help page which describes the behavior. Let's see if I can bring it up too. We actually have a particular help page that only tells us about the various results we got in Wikidata's query service. And I have just recently realized that it's actually documented here, the behavior. So when you want to render coordinate, it doesn't really matter what you name the variable because it's known that this is a location, this is a coordinate because it has that data type. The same thing is the case with U-shapes. If we have a look here at the documentation for the map, it says variable can be anything, a star, and coordinate or geographic shape. It says here that it would create a map marker. And the same here, it doesn't mention that it actually renders shapes, but it does. So let's try that. So I'm gonna keep on doing it for nature reserves, I think. I think that's a first good one. So let's start all over. Gonna remove that banner. Select star where. So let's see. We have a lot of nature reserves in Sweden, so I'm gonna limit it a little. Icon, the nature reserve, instance of, using the autocomplete even for instance of, nature, and it's English, so I think that's it.
Yep.
And I do not want the coordinate location, but I want the geoshape.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's a little trickier than remembering 625, which we got for coordinate. It was one of the ones Nicholas wanted us to know. And as the documentation told us, this can be named whatever, but I'm gonna call it shape.
Yes.
That makes sense to me. And let's also add the label service and go with item.
Well, now you're going with everyone.
Label. Oh, right. Yeah, I'm gonna need to narrow it down.
Or perhaps there's a few that has shapes.
I think all of them got shapes.
No, in Sweden, yes.
Yes.
So
Sweden.
that's going to be some
5,000.
Yeah,
I don't
that's going to be a heavy
here.
map. That's going to be a heavy map, yes.
Located in the admin. Yeah. That's another one that Nicholas wants us to know. And let's do my region here. Actually, let's double check here which one it's using.
I think it's using the municipality.
Oh, it's even. Let's go to that one. Copy the QID. Head over to the query. And don't do autocomplete. Something like that.
All right.
So we should only get ones.
Still might
quite
be
quite a few.
100. Oh, 20. All right.
Okay. Yeah, we got 20.
Mm-hmm.
And we got them in a lovely table here. Let's try the map. Oh, it works. We actually got shapes.
Just like that.
Just like that. It was super simple. And it renders just as it should here.
Yes.
We can see it actually renders out the link to the geoshape as well. This one was the one we looked at in Wikidata, but we got another one here. Okay.
Yeah. So the only thing you really did was actually querying for the shape.
Yeah, similar as if we would go with
the coordinate. Yeah.
Coordinate location and render that. And let's be smart here. Definitely map. So it's essentially exactly the same process, but we just change out the P number.
What happens if you do both?
Yeah, that's another thing I want to try. I actually, now as I was exploring what we got here, I actually want to try. Let's see if we can find a species which has a taxon map and also is located within a nature reserve and have both of those rendered in different colors.
Ooh,
that would be nice. Let's see if we can manage
that
tonight. So we got. Okay, I just changed to shape. We got the one with coordinates here. Pressing play. We got shapes. If you looked closely there, I have been noticing this when I have been running a few of them. That if you notice closely, for a brief moment it said loading map, because it actually pulls all that data from Commons instead of Wikidata. So it has a bit more of a rendering time there. But yeah, that's super cool. Now let's see how well used the one is for species and their taxon maps. So that's super easy. I think the documentation could be improved a little, but more people should be aware of this, because in the end it will give us more data as well.
Yep.
But now let's see. I just want to render, what was it called? Distribution of map taxon P8485. I just gonna do it like that, but I'm gonna remove the default map because if there is a lot of them, it might break it.
Yes.
So let's start by rendering it as a table.
Oh.
We only got one.
Uh,
I see potential here.
yes.
But, that's it. Okay.
So
So
it's a .gov, so it's in from the US, perhaps.
it might. I think like government agencies in Sweden got this data as well, so we might have actually something to import. Is this something we can find in the nature, sir? I wonder. We got a Swedish Wikipedia article. Is it by bot? It is by bot, okay.
It doesn't state where it
It's not.
lives. Check the
No,
English one.
Yeah, let's check the English one. It's a very endangered species. And it's only in this. Oh, they actually use the U shape here as well, I imagine. Let's
Maui.
bring this up.
Hawaii.
Oh, but yeah, true. Yes. Because we can actually see what I believe our nature reserves here. And we can see already here that sadly they do not overlap, so we can't do this experiment I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But this is a property we want to play with in the future. Yep. I want to head over to the property and see if it got more examples. So for example, it has an example here which didn't seem to be in the data. So let's add it.
Yes.
So Alabama beach mouse. It's a subspecies. Okay. Got a bunch of identifiers. Taxon. No. Distribution.
Distribution.
No, I'm gonna be lazy. There we go. And the data item. And I imagine I can just copy this.
Yeah.
Let's see where it is to. Oh, so it's the Mexican Gulf.
A few islands
in a
there.
Small area. I wonder if that's it. It doesn't autocomplete here. I'm gonna see if it gives me. No, it doesn't give me a constraint error.
Nope, and it seems to be linked now.
Yeah. And is there a healthy day for a few seconds ago? Let's see if.
All right.
Did I
yes.
render it as a map? Yeah, I got 2 results, but I also rendered it as a map. So we can see here. Oh, let's see if we can zoom in. So we got a small red thing there at Hawaii, and in the Mexican Gulf here we got a small red area. So we just doubled the usage of this property.
100%.
Let's see. Yeah, so this was the old way of doing it.
Yeah, with a static image.
With a static image. So I imagine some people that do a lot of theirs for Wikipedia can now go ahead and draw them as geoshapes, which would be great.
Nicholas is encouraging people to actually use the properties you get created.
Yeah. We have done this in the past, like discovered properties that almost aren't used. I think we had done the carbon one, the carbon footprint one was a good example that had a very low usage. This one is another one. I know a couple of one among glaciers, like glacier status and a couple of ones. Just created, almost never used. It seems like we should create a list for ones we should review every now and then.
Yep.
So this is the old way. Let's see, get back to the property. Let's see if there are more examples at the property example here. Yeah, Alabama map turtle we got as well.
That's very ironic that a map turtle has a map.
Yeah. And that one we got, that one.
I wonder what happened with those that was crossed over. Did the data get deleted?
Let's click on one. It seems to be, it ends with 53. Let's see. That ends with 53. No, it's still around.
All right.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Oh, so this is an observation map. I think it has been observed within this grid.
Yes. So not
and I guess
exactly the same.
Yeah, and I guess it has some quantity amount here to say.
Pretty cool though, with actually being able to render the levels there.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed the same. So I imagine it's more seen in this area here.
Yep.
This is the same way as I think it's rendered on, for example, iNaturalist. So I wonder if it's exported or imported from GBIF or from iNaturalist.
But it seems like there's a lot of potential in the data namespace.
Indeed, and the data namespace, while we're on the topic, does not only hold map data, it can also hold tabular data.
Yeah.
I think we might have a property that uses it, for example, for time series data.
Yes, and also tabular data. There's one
exactly.
like that.
So if we have time series data, which we rather store in the tabular format, we might store it on commons and just link it. Let's see here. We had one more we could do. So let's see that it's... I'm gonna close down a little. Yeah, here is the map turtle. It's in a much larger area. We got a couple of protected areas, which overlaps with it, but I imagine we might not have the U shape for those. But let's add this to the item to begin with. So the map turtle, Alabama map turtle. Do we have an image? I'm slightly... That's a cool one. Gonna go down to the end of the statements. And again, I gonna sheet and paste the property identifier in there. And then paste the map link in there. Oh, here it auto-completes it as well when I used an underscore. Okay, we got that one as well. So we have more than doubled the usage of the property.
Well, now you could see if you get an overlap, or try it, because at least there's potential.
Yeah, if I knew how to query that particular area for the nature reserves.
Yeah. Yes.
But there you could see briefly that it was loading the data. But now this map already looks a lot cooler because it's a much larger red dot. Oh, it's very exact at the borders as well. Let's see here. Can I see the name of this reserve? I don't think so.
No.
I think that's for another day. I think I'm gonna do this for some super common species, like, I don't know, Norwegian spruce, where it's like half the globe. Not really.
It's a big file.
Most are water. And then we can just grab a bunch of them. Still, I don't think we can query for, like, does this overlap with this area? But we can visually see it. So we can actually, for example, if someone states this is found in this nature reserve, we can actually validate that using the taxon map, for example. That would be super cool.
Yes.
Usage.
Visual inspection.
Exactly. Let's see, where did I have the property? That's the property proposal. Here's the property. Let's put that in a banner for all of you, because I did not expect to find this property today, but it's a bit of a very cool find in my opinion. I'm gonna try to be looking for more things like that, and in particular, I'm gonna try to be looking for open data about this type of taxon maps. Maybe there are in different geospatial formats that I can convert to JSON and import or such, so we can actually scale up this property, because that's what a lot of new properties need. They need that initial bunch of data so we can actually start playing with it at a bit of scale.
Did you want to experiment with what happened if you selected both a shape and the coordinate for?
Let's do that, and also let's play with the color, so we can change the. I think we've showed this a couple of times. We can change the color of points by using a layer variable. But let's try how those behaves when we use both of them.
Yep.
So can I get back to my nature search query?
There you go.
This looks like it. There we go. And let's now also select the coordinate BDT. And I don't need to name that coordinate either. It uses the data type, so oops. Okay. Coordinate. Let's render both of them to begin with.
You have to select it.
Yeah, right. Coordinate. And let's zoom into a nature reserve. I think this one is pretty interesting actually, because
you get a little dot there, yes.
You can see this is the same nature reserve, but it's in two pieces. It's the same U shape. And we can see that the coordinate is not like the centroid, but it's actually something that's in the center, but also within. So we can say this is not really the center, which is also a bit of visual inspection. What do the coordinate location that has been imported here actually mean?
Yes.
Which is in this case is try to be the centroid, but still within the boundaries.
Yeah.
It's an interesting example.
Seems pretty smart.
But I can see a problem here. Both of them are red. We can't have it like that.
No.
So let's see what we can do. So we use layer to signal the color. And let's see, what can we do here? So currently we select that both of them are in the same table, but we can only have one. So if we go over to the table here. So we got the coordinate and shape in the same row, but we can only have one color per row, I just realized. So we need to split them up to different rows here to be able to actually render them in different colors. So it's a bit of a problem, but it also makes it a little easier because we can be rather lazy, I think. We can do something like this. Item 2. We drop the shape here. We drop the coordinate here. And now it would still be, I could do 2 queries and merge them. What would this render to begin with? 400 results. Did I complete 400?
You're getting duplicates in some way.
Okay, interesting.
20 times 20.
That makes sense, yes. So, indeed. So let's go. All of them would be distinct anyway. Now we're getting into shallow waters here, I realize. Oh, still 400. How are they distinct?
That seems less obvious.
That's the coordinate. Yeah, that's something broken, I imagine. Okay. How to
You're
do
not
this in a
selecting
good way?
item 2.
No, it's intentional, but the query is still done internally.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why this would render 400 times. Okay. How would we do this in a nice way? I want to bind the layers as well, so I think we're actually gonna do something like this. We're gonna do a subquery here. Select everything where we got the U shape. So let's start by selecting U shapes here, and then we're gonna do down here. I imagine if U shape is bound, let's give it one color, and if not, give it Orchard one. And then for all items 2, bind it to something else. So, no, it would still not do the trick. We would need to do Yon here. No, maybe this is something for another day.
Yeah, perhaps. I can't solve it either in my head right now.
No, exactly. And maybe this isn't the best arena for solving it. Because essentially the problem is that we can only bind one color to each row.
Yeah.
And we would need to split them into various ones. And it's not obvious to me right now. Or it's extensive, the solution I have.
Yep.
So I'm gonna leave it at that. I think we have discovered this great property which is on the screen there in the banner, and I hope people will use it. And as Magnus says here in the comments, color is not only the layer one. You can actually assign a singular color to each thing by using the RGB one variable as well, which is a great note for those who want to play with it. I think I will come back to this one in the future, probably not anytime soon, but in particular the text and map one, it seems to have a lot of potential. I think it would be not only useful for Wikidata, but just having that data and having that interactive map instead, for example, on Wikipedia, instead of those small vector images, it would be really cool. I think now when I'm thinking of it, like, it's Wikidata powered info boxes, and we can have that interactive map instead of that rather boring one.
Like we actually do have on the only for the nature reserves on Swedish Wikipedia.
Yeah, so let's actually head over to the Swedish Wikipedia
and show people
and show what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So let's load it. I'm gonna go to the same one. It also got a bit of text. So actually, we got this one. It's a good old one we still have. And then we always have this, and this is actually pulled from Wikidata and that particular U shape. And it's interactive, so we can click it and actually see the outline and browse it. And this is all done from Wikidata, so most articles about nature reserves on Swedish Wikipedia are rather small. It's 1 or 2 sentences, but we always have this outline map. And we could do the same for species, which on the Swedish Wikipedia would be great because we have an article about pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Here we got another map that's manually created with parking spots. But yeah, so this would be great for a bunch of Wikipedia articles, I think, when we got that for species. So with that, I think I'm gonna be done for today. We went onto some shallow waters, but that's an adventure for another time.
That's what's happened with new when you learn new things.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I
as I said, I try to do this from scratch so everyone will see how a hard time I can have with it, or as pretty much today, how easy it actually was. But first
yes,
try, never done it before. And I hope you will play with that feature.
and meanwhile you were doing it, I actually went forward and did the rest of the table. Had a chef's preparation. I just copy and pasted.
Nice.
So we have a first stab here at least. But as you can see, there are a few red things. So if anyone wants to help me out and figure out if it's actually possible, if I missed anything, or if it's not, then we're done and can start adding data.
Nice. Yeah, I actually gonna have a look myself. I thought it was a great piece of product, and especially if we can import it from various places.
Yep. All right. And with that for today, we'll probably be back next week as usual.
We won't be back next
Oh
week.
yes, you already said that.
Because
Yeah.
I have a family member who graduates high school, so it's 2 weeks until the next time, I think.
Yes. All right. So get out in the sun instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye
Keep
for now.
editing.
Yes.